is, when you meet her for the first time, you probably wouldn't know that. Sheila's so approachable, so unassuming. She's very warm, sometimes rather quiet. I think it's part of her enormous charm. I also think it's her superpower. I think it's maybe even a secret weapon that she has. For her nearly 30-year career, she has been putting that superpower to work. Quietly, steadfastly, and with very little drama, meeting after meeting, interaction after interaction, she's been telling us, we can design and build buildings better. It has gone by many names: exemplary buildings, high-performance buildings, whole building design, net zero energy buildings, energy-positive buildings, and grid-responsive buildings. But it's all a progression in the same vein. Buildings that employ innovative strategies and systems to minimize the use of non-renewable energy and deliver occupant well-being and satisfaction. I imagine all of the hundreds of meetings Sheila has organized and participated in: strategic planning meetings, technical committees, project meetings, meetings with ASHRAE, AIA, USGBC, GSA, DHS, right? A veritable alphabet soup of professional associations, government agencies and laboratories, and private sector businesses as well. I've been a part of some of those meetings, so I can conjure up a picture pretty easily. Sheila has an uncanny ability to first bring the right people together. Then she creates a comfortable and open atmosphere for productive discussion. She kicks off a discussion, and that discussion usually challenges the conventional approach. Discussion begins. Opinions are expressed. There are disagreements. A certain amount of cynicism sometimes, about how possible or practical or affordable an idea is, and it goes on for a while. Sheila sits back, always remaining positive and curious and attentive, oftentimes quiet. Then Sheila speaks. And this is where I get back to my superpower secret weapon theory. I think Sheila's unassuming nature makes it possible for her to act as sort of a secret agent, an undercover agent. She speaks. There's a pause in the room. Then the discussion begins again. Now there's a feeling of excitement, optimism even, about how truly possible this approach may be and how important. And yes, we should march forward together and do it this way. It sounds rather magical, and it can feel that way when you're in the room with her. It's artful, to be sure, but it's really not magic. I don't think I need to remind any of you that this woman has serious professional credentials. She started advocating for low-energy design at no extra added cost decades ago. She has worked her entire career to bring renewable energy into the mainstream. While not everything she has advocated for has gone mainstream, plenty of elements have worked their way into policy, regulation, standards, and code. Now, many energy efficiency measures that we once considered optional are just part of doing business. And we're reaching a point where renewable energy is cost competitive with non-renewable energy. She saw the future many years ago, and that future is now the present. So I'm sure Sheila's feeling pretty uncomfortable with this suggestion that I might have just made, that all these changes, happened because of her. I know many others have been advocating for better buildings too. Sheila. But nobody does it like you. To me, Sheila is a superhero. Her impact is enormous. She can see the future, and she knows how to get us there. Today, Well, I'm not going to steal Sheila's thunder, but I'll just say you're going to hear about a vision of the future that I have no doubt will come true also. So if you don't know Sheila as I do, or as many others in this room do, and you haven't seen her magic at work, just take my advice. Listen to her. And with that, it is my tremendous pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague and your new ASHRAE president, Sheila Hayter.
I know that we can, I know darn well we can work it out. We just pretend to do it.
I gotta do my hat again, right? Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Ruby. Thank you for those kind words. That was very wonderful. So, I'm here today. I'm here today to tell you about a journey into our future, and in particular, our energy future. This is really exciting. I'm really happy to be here today and to be part of this community that we're going to be taking this adventure, this journey together. But before I begin on that journey, I'd like to first tell you about my own journey, the journey that brought me to be here today, to be in front of this room today. Looking forward is not new to me. I've always had this lifelong passion to be looking forward into the future. It all began in the 1970s. Images such as these were very common in my childhood: pollution, the energy crisis, the environment. The topics that these images represent received intense global attention during that era, and they caught my attention too. So naturally, I started asking questions like, where does energy come from? Why do we need to use energy? How do we use energy? And what is the environmental impact from using energy? So there are other influences in my childhood as well. My father, Dick Hayter, he set the example for energy awareness in our household in many ways. But one that sticks out in my mind is that thermostat. So how many of you in this room remember the days before we had set back thermostats? I think yes, I knew there'd be some. And we all had a thermostat that looked just like this, hanging on our wall, I bet. Well, my dad, from my earliest memories, he would set that thermostat in the evenings before going to bed, in the mornings when we got up, before we left the house, when we got home from the house, when people came, when people left. That thermostat was being set and changed all the time in order to optimize the amount of energy that house is being used. That thermostat was my dad's domain. We knew he was our setback thermostat of that day. As many of you know, my dad was also very active in ASHRAE. As a result, my family, we spent most of our summer vacations as I was growing up to whatever destination ASHRAE had selected for its annual conferences. There's a few of you in the room who had similar upbringings as well. But he eventually did become ASHRAE president in 1995, 1996. And he firmly established in me the belief that ASHRAE provides a community for advancing technology, technical knowledge, and influencing positive change in how we use our valuable energy resources. My mom, Barbara Hayter, was also a big influencer for me in this time of my life. She was an active member of a national advocacy organization at our community level. I remember, as a child, stuffing what seemed like thousands of envelopes with information about social and environmental issues that she had volunteered to share with stakeholders in the community. It was a big job, but it helped me become aware that we need to participate. We need to be involved in the conversation. We need to be part of that change if we want to see change happen. I'm proud to say that my mom and her friends from those days are still doing a lot of community awareness activities and advocating for changes on important issues of today. So being the daughter of these two remarkable people, I basically had two choices. I could have rejected their teachings and completely rebelled everything that they were trying to teach me to do. Or I could have taken their teachings and woven them into the very fabric of who I am. Now I'm going to let you decide which of those two options I chose. So fast forward a few years, I pursued an education in mechanical engineering. I joined ASHRAE naturally, and I have continued that fine tradition of bringing my family to ASHRAE, the cities where ASHRAE events are being held, so that they can spend their vacations with me as I do my ASHRAE job. And I'm very happy that my brother and sister-in-law and my nephew are here today. It's really special that they could join me on this particular adventure. As a person with a lifelong habit of looking forward and always looking to the future, I also then, early in my career, went to work at the U.S. Department of Energy's National Renewable Energy Laboratory, where I've been for the past 26 years. NREL is a research institution whose entire mission is focused on advancing the technologies of energy efficiency and renewable energy. It was a good match for me and my interest. Being deeply involved in ASHRAE and working at NREL has given me a very unique and very special perspective. My work at NREL has me looking constantly into the future, working in the buildings industry to find opportunities to deploy those cutting-edge technologies to make our new energy future a reality. ASHRAE keeps me firmly planted in the now. For my entire career, I've been a bridge between these two worlds, between my ASHRAE colleagues on the one hand, who work in the realities of our profession every day, and then on the other hand, with my NREL colleagues who work every day to dream up a better future for us all. Okay, you might say, we see the connection between buildings and energy, mechanical engineering, ASHRAE, NREL. All of that makes sense. But what about the environment? Well, hopefully all of us have a bridge that connects each of us to the environment in some way that's special and unique to us. My bridge to the environment is skiing, preferably with my family. In fact, some of you might not know, but I am a certified ski instructor, and I call that my backup career. I do have some days when I come home and I'm saying, this is it. Today I'm going to become a full-time career ski instructor, and we will find health insurance and other coverage in some other way, and I'm immediately told that's a bad idea. But I do have a backup option. So my work at NREL and ASHRAE, they connect me to the buildings and to energy. Skiing and playing outdoors with my family, that's what connects me to the environment. And every day, both of them remind me of the critical role our industry is playing in preserving our environment. So I'd like you to think of me as a bridge from our energy present to our energy future, a bridge that connects buildings, the energy, and the environment. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk with you about an exciting new future that we're all going to share, and how ASHRAE can lead in building a bridge to that new energy future. To build that bridge between our society and that new energy future, here's what we need to do. First, we need to become aware. Next, we need to get engaged. And we need to start now. So let's begin with what does our new energy future look like, and what do buildings have to do with it? Fortunately for you, ASHRAE has taken the first step to help you become aware. We have literally, hot off the press, just published this new document that each of you have at your places at this luncheon now. It is a primer with the title, Building Our New Energy Future. I encourage you to review this, become familiar with the topics that are in this. This is a tool that is there to help you understand what does it mean, what is this place for buildings in our new future, in particular, the future of our electricity sector. This document was developed in collaboration with the American Institute of Architects, the National Institute for Building Sciences, and NREL. Not only is it available in print version today, it is also available for download as a PDF document off of the presidential page on the ASHRAE website. So please go to the ASHRAE website and visit my just opening up new web page there, and it'll be available at your convenience. So this document is designed to help you, your colleagues, and your clients understand some of the topics that I'm going to be touching on today. And it's also designed to give us a common understanding and a common baseline language when we're talking about these issues moving forward. So before describing what else ASHRAE is going to be doing and that we're going to be doing in order to help you as ASHRAE members become aware, let me describe what this future is going to be. Let's start with the electricity sector. Electricity powers modern life. It powers our homes, our schools, our businesses, our healthcare facilities, our places of worship. It powers everything that we do in our daily lives. And buildings are the power sector's #1 customer. In fact, buildings consume almost 3/4 of all of the power that's generated. This percentage varies a little bit on where you are in the world, but it is usually in the 70 to 75% range of how much of all of the electricity consumed is used in buildings. This is an interesting statistic, and I'd like you to keep that in mind. The power sector, and most of us are familiar with it through the grid, is an engineering marvel. It truly is, and it's been recognized as one of the greatest achievements of the 20th century. But remember, this model is about 100 years old. If you put that in terms of dates, we're looking at 1918 versus 2018. So generally, this is how it works. Most electricity comes from burning fossil fuels. This electricity is coming from power plants where large quantities of that power is being produced in these central power plant locations at efficiencies of about 30 or 40%. The power plants are usually located very far away from the loads. So even in thinking about it now, when you're going back to your own communities, where is most of that power coming from that you need for your own homes? Sometimes we can't even think about where is that power plant. It's so far away. Electricity is delivered to its end customers, which is usually buildings, as we just said, and that goes through long distances in order to get to those end customers, introducing even more inefficiencies into the system. And finally, this whole system was designed for one-way flow of electricity from the power plants to the loads, and that's it. So our current grid model also impacts how we use electricity, how we plan on using electricities. And for those of us in the buildings industry, this is a big deal. How do we use energy, electricity in our buildings? Electricity is expensive. It's a cost. And so we tend to design our buildings so that we use less electricity, or we use it during the times of day when the cost of electricity is less. How do we do that? Well, we tend to think of buildings as a box. We put things in that box, and the things that we put in that box make it possible for us to be able to heat and cool that space, to provide enough ventilation for the occupants in that space, to make sure that the occupants are comfortable and they're safe and they're well in that space. And those of us at ASHRAE, we have provided a lot of knowledge so that we and the buildings industry overall, we are really good at creating boxes that are those buildings. We can take any building and we can make it awesome. But we need a 21st century grid model, and we need 21st century buildings as this model is evolving. And ASHRAE is prepared to provide you with the continuing education, the tools, and the resources that are needed in order to help us move forward into that 21st century model. So what does this 21st century grid look like? Well, I'll explain it in some high-level detail here. First of all, we're going to see more distributed resources like solar and wind that are generating the electricity that is being put into this grid system. And this will be combined with improved and less expensive battery storage and microgrid technologies. Electricity flow will be bidirectional, not just one way. Individual building owners and third-party providers will own generation systems. So instead of it just coming from the power plant somewhere out there, we are going to be seeing more owners of generation systems throughout the system. Your building owner client could decide to get into the electricity business. And this is when it's going to start to impact those of us in the buildings industry when we think about, wait a minute, we have generation right here. What does that mean with how are we designing and using our buildings now? Devices in the buildings that communicate via the internet and have an impact will also have an impact on these electricity loads, like the Internet of Things. And these are all of those things in the buildings that don't have a control system that has a wire to the thing next door, but is actually sending out the communication signals via the internet. And the opportunities that are available to us in the building sector and how we design and control our buildings is just expanding rapidly as these technologies become more and more available. To handle all of this, buildings and the grid are going to have to become smarter. As we transition to a future of smart grids that play a dynamic role, or smart buildings that play a dynamic role on a smart grid, We have to be thinking about how do we do this without compromising the health and wellness of the built environment. As the electricity sector transitions to depend more and more on the integration of buildings, then people like us, ASHRAE members, we are going to be among that 21st century grid's most important customers. We better learn more about it. So the primer, this will help you get started. This is a very good first step. Again, please, please take advantage of this. Share this with your own community of professionals that you work with in your day-to-day life. Help them become aware too. But in addition to that, we also have initiated a process to create a application guide on smart grids so that we can put relevant information at your fingertips when you need it. This will be practical information for building owners and design professionals for designing and operating buildings, whether they're new construction or retrofit projects, in ways that are grid-friendly. So look for a ASHRAE Smart Grid Application Guide coming out later this year. We're also going to be expanding our Distinguished Lecturer program in order to include more topics on, or more presentations on topics that are related to these subjects. So during the 2018-19 Society year, there are going to be presentation topics available on things like smart buildings and the smart grid, connectivity of buildings through microgrids in the smart grid, and ensuring practices continue to focus on wellness and the built environment. So through the DL program, we are going to be connecting subject matter experts on these very important topics with our ASHRAE members at their local homes, where their chapters are located, throughout the year. So please take advantage of this too and encourage your chapters to consider inviting speakers who can present on these subjects. So earlier I said we have 3 things to do. We need to become aware, we need to get engaged, and we need to start now. All that I've just said is about getting aware. It's a really big job. So increase your awareness about this new energy future. Here are some of the things that I'd like you to do right now. Read the primer. Become familiar with the new knowledge that you're going to gain from this document. Attend DL lectures on these topics. Attend conferences and meetings on distributed energy resources and smart grids, on the buildings to grids topics, such as their anticipated series of the ASHRAE education webinars that will be offered on these subjects. And get these topics on your radar now. When it's available, read the application guide on smart grids as well. So, awareness is a good first step. But we in the buildings industry, we have to do more. If we're going to bridge our society to this new energy future, we have to get engaged. We are the buildings experts. We have the most knowledge about, as our mission states, serving humanity and promoting a sustainable world. Buildings professionals have to be involved, and ASHRAE must be the leader. All of these changes will have an impact on the future of buildings design, construction, commissioning, operation, and maintenance. Your building owner clients may soon shift from being just building owners to also being providers of electricity and other energy sources. There are and will continue to be many other businesses and entire industry sectors out there that recognize the opportunities that this new energy future is bringing us and the changes that are underway now and that are expected to expand in the near future. So big players in the technology sector, for example, are already making their way into home automation systems, into our controls for heating, cooling, lighting, electronics. We have big players in the technology sector that are making headway with energy storage and solar PV systems. And the power sector has been working on issues related to distributed energy, such as solar, wind, battery storage, microgrids, and other smart grid topics for many years now. Data will be the golden key. That will be the golden key to our energy future. And industry sectors with an interest in our data and the data that we are producing because of the decisions that we're making in our buildings, they are already thinking about that energy future and already thinking about how they can get that information they need from our part of this future. So these industries see an opportunity in how energy is generated, distributed, and stored, and they are starting to mobilize to take advantage of these changes for their own benefit. If buildings professionals aren't part of that research, that development, that policy changes, the conferences, the meetings, the conversations, we will see other industries setting things up for their own benefits. What if they decide and if to make some changes or some things that benefit them, these changes may or may not benefit the buildings industry. They may or may not benefit our clients. And most importantly, they may or may not benefit the occupants of the built environments that we're creating. So who would you rather have establishing smart grid and smart building standards about thermal comfort, indoor air quality, and occupant wellness within the built environment? A tech company or those of us in this room? Who would you rather have establishing communication protocols and standards that affect building systems and operations? Utility companies or those of us in this room? Of course, it should be us. We have nearly 125 years of experience doing this. We are the buildings experts. If we don't become aware and get engaged, the essential, critically important role that we play in the buildings industry right now is going to change dramatically. So how do we get engaged? During my presidential year, we are going to be creating new networks, we're going to establish new partnerships, and we're going to expand our opportunities for engaging across many industry sectors that also have a stake in our energy future. In addition to promoting awareness with the primer, the DL topics that are being added to our library topics this year and the applications guide on smart grid, ASHRAE will actually engage in conversations with the smart grid community. Buildings, as you remember, are the #1 consumers of electricity. As leaders in the buildings industry, we want to ensure that ASHRAE is, and its expertise, are maintaining our relevance in this discussion. We need to be there. As we've heard before, we need to be in the room. We need to be part of these conversations. So ASHRAE will take a leadership role in defining the relationships between the buildings and the smart grid. We will identify and approach existing organizations or groups of organizations that are focused on smart grids with which we can engage and build this critically valuable expertise that will benefit us all. In addition to promoting, so buildings will likely, we will see, as building systems in the future, we will see more of this communication about energy use through the internet to be able to exchange information with the electricity sector and with other buildings. We'll receive data via the internet and use that data to inform system operation and performance. And all that communication is a really good thing as long as it can be done while ensuring the safety, security, and privacy of the building occupants and the privacy and security of the information of those occupants. So how is ASHRAE going to get engaged with this part, with this piece of that equation, of this part of the problem? This is how we are planning on engaging with that cybersecurity community. It's important that the buildings industry address the building-specific cybersecurity issues. And we know there are some key players in this space. So during my year, we will develop more effective collaboration among ASHRAE communities working in or having an interest in cybersecurity. And we will develop a mechanism for ASHRAE to engage with other organizations and collaborate with these organizations that also have an interest in this area. We will create webinars on building-specific cybersecurity issues to ensure our members are well informed on this topic. As we consider all these changes that are coming to both the electricities and the building sectors, the challenges, the opportunities, we will not lose sight of the fact that buildings are built for people. Buildings serve people. They don't serve the grid. They don't serve a technology sector. They serve people. And as we know, we are the ones that know that best. The best building design, construction, and operation will achieve two important goals. They will ensure occupant safety, wellness, and comfort, and they will also become a dynamic partner in this new future with the electricity sector. So the buildings that were designed yesterday, they will have to evolve to meet the design requirements of tomorrow. The building professionals who know how to create and operate grid-responsive buildings and also excel in delivering indoor environmental quality are the practitioners the building owners need today and in the future. So, as we prepare our society for a leadership role in this new energy future, ASHRAE will actively engage in this rapidly growing wellness community. The increased connectivity of the future of buildings are opportunities. There's so many more than just looking at the energy systems on their own. Human wellness and well-being within the built environment is an area of significant opportunity, and ASHRAE members are well positioned to be at the forefront of this growing trend. We will expand ASHRAE's leadership role in IAQ to support the growing interest in wellness and well-being in buildings. We intend to form a committee focused on this subject to help us work with other organizations to link the built environment to human wellness and to happiness. These are specific initiatives associated with my presidential year. We welcome and encourage your involvement. Please be a part of what these new things that ASHRAE is starting right now and will be growing during the coming months. So here's how you can get engaged and bring your essential buildings professional expertise into all of the discussions that we have about our energy future. So get involved with ASHRAE's ongoing conversations. We are forming a new technical committee on resiliency and security. ASHRAE has a smart grid guide that's standard on smart grids that's available right now. As these conversations evolve, the conversations on that very active standard committee are going to continue as well, and we encourage you to participate and become engaged with those conversations. Start talking to your clients, help them become aware, help them take action for the future. Keep your ear to the ground and look for opportunities for demonstration projects that are testing new technologies, business models, and relationships, and get to know your electricity providers and your IT staff and all of your building projects, as these are going to be very important relationships for you in your projects and in the work that you do on a daily basis moving forward. Look for and get involved in local, state, or regional activities. What is your Public Utility Commission or other local, state, or regional organizations doing regarding regulation and policy changes that are impacting and affecting how electricity and the building sectors interact? What is your local utility provider doing to prepare for more distributed energy resources and the smart grid within their own system? You can inform these discussions, and you can do this with considerable expertise. Remember, ASHRAE has a strong grassroots government advocacy activity, and they could use your expertise as well. So please, get involved with all of these things that you can do as soon as you go home from this meeting here today. So I've talked about how you can become aware of issues, technologies, opportunities, the challenges of our new energy future. I've talked about how to get engaged. Finally, I want to underscore the importance of starting now. The new energy future will challenge current relations in buildings design, construction, commissioning, maintenance operations. If you start to develop solutions to these challenges, you'll be ahead of the curve and ahead of your competition. To get engaged, to get ASHRAE started now, we are going to be doing two things. The first is we are partnering with APA, who have helped us become connected with university campuses that are interested in using their own campuses as a living lab environment. ASHRAE will provide research and technology resources to work with these universities to identify programs that support the university goals, while at the same time expand our knowledge about our new energy future and how the buildings that we work with every day are becoming a part of this new energy future. ASHRAE will partner in the implementation and in the monitoring of these programs. We'll also, in this Living Lab activity, we are going to be including the utilities that serve those campus environments. And the reason we're doing that is to make sure that we are asking questions of them, and they are asking questions of us, the buildings industry, as we are exploring how do we create these solutions, how do we move into this new future that we're so close to being into. So working with this Living Lab, the Living Lab activity is very important to ASHRAE, and it's important to ASHRAE members because it gives us an opportunity to work on microgrid scenarios, making you all the more familiar with how microgrids are integrated with the classic grid and what are the roles that buildings play now and must play as we are seeing these evolutions coming our way. The more we understand the interconnection of buildings and other systems, the better equipped we are going to be, all of us are going to be, to lead the change into that new energy future. So in addition to the Living Lab activity, ASHRAE is also encouraging our local ASHRAE leaders to take advantage of the Chapter's Opportunities Fund in order to create grassroots programs specific to the needs of the local community in regards to the changings of the energy systems and the connectivity of buildings that we are seeing moving forward. We're encouraging any chapter program to reflect similar breadth and scope to the concept of the Living Lab in their own communities, such as working with a local utility and a neighborhood to provide a community solar or community shared grid-connected renewable energy or distributed energy systems, while also improving the wellness and resiliency of buildings, whether they're residential or commercial buildings, but improving the flexibility, the resiliency, and the wellness of the buildings in their community. We're also asking students and inviting students to participate in the SETI Foundation 2019 Applied Engineering Challenge. The challenge this year is to design a self-sustaining community of 5,000 residents on one of the islands that was very, very drastically impacted by the hurricanes last summer that hit Puerto Rico. The scope of this Applied Engineering Challenge includes providing on-site energy generation, figuring out how to rebuild the infrastructure for the water and sewer treatment, how to address the challenges that they're facing on the agricultural side and so that they can grow the food and to be able to provide a place where people can live again. And then, of course, all of this is tied together through the community of buildings that need to be rebuilt on this island. I'm excited about this opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the submissions that the student teams that are participating in the SETI Family Foundation Applied Engineering Challenge this year are going to be submitting for consideration in this competition. So this is how the society is starting now. As a member, you can start now by incorporating smart grid knowledge into the design of your own projects. Think about how you can do this, how you can bring these questions and these challenges forward to your clients, to the projects that you're working in today, and help to begin to answer those questions and find solutions. So ASHRAE knows it is essential to take a leadership role as we are seeing this change. If we don't, someone else will. So please take advantage of the work and research that ASHRAE is doing to make sure that you are also contributing to this work. Start in your day-to-day life. Become aware and build your own knowledge. Become engaged. Be a leader. We want everyone in this society to be one step ahead, and we are here to help you do that. So I've shared with you today how I'm a bridge. I've shared with you how ASHRAE is a bridge, and I've also shared with you the tools and resources that ASHRAE is developing right now to help you be a bridge in your own communities. Now together, let's build that bridge to our new energy future. Thank you.